Welcome. My goal is to share stories of brave moves that leaders, business owners, and CEOs are making today. 1 minute story, one leader. And with me, I have Todd Darnold. He's the Associate Dean at the Heider College of Business, and he also holds the Mike Harper Chair in Business Leadership. I couldn't be more excited to have Todd with us here today. So welcome, Todd.
Hey, Nicole, pleasure to be with you. Really excited to be able to share a little bit of my story.
Awesome. So Todd, I'm thinking this is a really interesting week that we are undergoing, and just the last 5 to 6 days, we've shifted from a COVID movement to a little bit of a different movement, and I would love to hear what's helping you be braver right now.
So for me, Nicole, as we've discussed in the past, a lot of what I think helps me be brave is my faith and this belief and this idea of calling and vocation, this idea that when we're called to do something, that we're supposed to do that thing.
Mhm.
And so if we've discerned well, we've prayed over something, and we get the sense that that's what we're called to do by faith, then we step out in bravery. So that's my answer. But I think this week, in thinking about this for this conversation, I had to think about it in the context of what's going on around me, right? And it's a tough situation. And so it dawned on me, I really don't have to be brave very often. And so why is that? And, this idea of privilege comes to mind. I'm a very privileged person in this country. So I'm a white male, I'm well educated, I came from a good family. And so much of my life, I haven't had to be terribly brave. The system is set up for me to succeed. And that doesn't mean I've never been brave. It doesn't mean I haven't worked hard. I've definitely had to take advantage of the opportunities given to me. They weren't, it's not like they just handed me the job or handed me the titles or whatever it is. There's still hard work involved, but it's what I was supposed to do. That's the way I've always felt about it. I haven't been busting through glass ceilings and barriers and things like that I've ever felt the need to be terribly brave over. Where I feel the need to be brave is now when I'm asked to step outside my comfort zone. So talking about something like this, I feel I need to be a little brave. Talking about my faith much more explicitly, I feel like I need to be a little bit brave because hadn't been my home base. But after spending a week on a silent retreat and really trying to discern my future, I just decided that was a part of what I was supposed to be doing now. And so I had to figure out how to get out of my own way and be brave enough to talk about the things that I felt were important, and that could change other people's lives, because ultimately my purpose is to help people grow. And so I need to help people grow in any way that I can. And right now, I think a part of my calling and vocation is to help share my belief system and how that's helped me as a person. And I hope I do that as inclusively and openly and um, in a really welcoming way. And I don't alienate people, because I certainly don't want that to be true. But I think right now that's what I'm called to do. And so that's where I'm being brave and why I'm being brave. But that being said, it's an interesting world out there right now where it's hard for us to decide how to step forward. So like, I'm not going to be brave and go down and protest, because I don't think that's responsible to my family if I get arrested. But I'm going to be brave and speak out about the fact that people in this country don't have the same opportunities, and they're battling a lot harder to get what they want out of life from certain communities. And I haven't had to battle that to nearly the same degree. So that's what I'm thinking about in the context of bravery this week.
Yeah. I like how you touched on early on in the conversation about more of the big bravery, right? The big brave moves. And then you begin to transition to the small brave moves. And that's where I see you having a really big impact, Todd, is you do a really nice job of making those small brave moves, and they do add up to much bigger ones. The first brave move of starting out the minimalist manager, right? Your very
Mhm.
first blog, and talking about things around that goes against goes against what society believes in, right? Everybody
Yeah.
believes more is better, and
Hmm.
and then making a very strategic move after that silent retreat, and talking more about a faith-based approach. And so those can be met with a lot of opposing views.
Yeah.
And for you to be able to talk about it and to put it out on a platform, I think definitely gives people permission to make other small brave moves that they need to make because they're watching you, right? They're watching you do it, they're watching, and that gives them permission to do that. So I appreciate that. And when I think about bravery, it's not always the big brave, like I'm going to go down and do this big protest and get wrapped up into, but that you can make small brave moves that can certainly make some bigger systematic changes.
Well, and I hope that's true. That's the way I've thought about it, that by helping people change the way they think, and that, education being largely my home base, and marketing and leadership, that by helping them change the way they think, they can make their lives better. And it doesn't mean the way I think about everything is the right thing for everyone, but I think there's some powerful ideas out there, and I want to share those with the world. And I feel like that's what I'm called to do with my platform and my background. And
Mhm.
I sure hope it's having an impact, because that's all I really want.
One more question for you. So, when you think about being brave, are there any mindsets, behaviors, or habits that come up for you that are really important that you're leaning into during this time?
That's a good question. So for me, the mindsets I'm leading into, and I'm failing most days at it right now, is I'm really trying to be habitual.
Mhm.
So how can I build a process so that I deliver things? Because a lot of building up relationship, especially in a world through like social media, is sort of building up the trust that you're going to be there, that you're going to continue to engage, that you're going to continue to add value. And all these things that I'm doing, like blogs and so on and so forth, are my side job,
Mhm.
and they're my passion, and my employer knows that they're my passion, and they're fine with that. But I also have a responsibility back at work that sidetracks me from doing my side things from time to time. So I'm really trying to figure out how to build habits,
Mm.
that allow me to deliver on my promise, so to speak, deliver on that calling. And that's something I'm thinking a lot about right now. And I think that anybody who wants to make an impact has to be consistent,
Yeah.
especially if you're going to make an impact, as you pointed out, through the small things. If we're not going to consistently do the small things, then we're going to struggle to make an impact over time. So that's something I'm thinking a lot about and trying to lean into, and am nowhere near living up to what I want to right now. So it's something, now I've said it out loud, now I have to do better, right?
I love that. And I loved you. I just love that you say in the beginning, I fail at it most days, but you're giving yourself permission to figure it out, right? And experiment and try, but recognizing you still have a ways to go and it's not quite where you want it. So I appreciate the vulnerability aspect as well.
I've got a long way to go. And if when I don't portray that in social media or whatever it might be, I feel bad, because I'm a work in progress just like everyone else. And if we own that, then we can make progress.
Those small brave moves that you talked about definitely take practice, and bravery is an acquired behavior. And so my challenge for all of us is to keep the practice, right? Keep practicing and trying and experimenting every single day to find out what works best for you during these times especially. So thank you, Todd, for joining us today. I really appreciate our conversation and you sharing from your voice as well.
Well, I love chatting with you any chance I get. So anytime I can be helpful, I would love to continue having a conversation.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Have a great day.
You too.